Well, we continue to keep the pulse on your health with Mara McGuinn, registered dietitian nutritionist. And I'm so glad you're here. Let's get right to this because you've got a label comparison chart here. So talk to us about what's different with these labels.
Sure, absolutely. So what you have here is a side-by-side comparison. So we have the original label and then the new label. And there's several changes going on, but I'm going to try to highlight just a couple that really jump out. So if you look at the new label, we can see the serving size is a little bit bigger, and it's also in bold. And then if we go down a little bit more, you can see the calories. They're a lot bigger, and then the number is huge. And this actually takes the place of the calories from fat used to be there. So now it's just the actual number of calories.
Okay.
That's really big and in your face.
It's a good bad thing.
Good way, right. And if you go down a little bit, you can also see another highlight is a line that includes added sugars. From the original label,
that
there
wasn't
was
there.
not there at the beginning. Yep. And then if you go down a little bit more, you can see vitamins A and C are no longer included on the new label, but instead we're looking at vitamin D and potassium because those nutrients we need to pay a little bit more attention to them.
Interesting, interesting. A lot more bold font, kind of in your face, but why the changes? Why all this?
It needed a facelift.
Okay.
So it's been over 20 years since the old label was rolled out, and so now we have this new label. We've taken into account some new science and public health research, and then we've also tapped into a lot of different expert opinions and even some public input as well to see what are we needing to see on these food labels.
Right, right. So as a dietary nutritionist, what do you think are the biggest and best changes?
I think some of the biggest changes, I mean, this calories and the amount of calories, I think it's a plus. You know, a lot of people will argue that we need to pay attention to not only the amount, but also the quality. And I think that with this change, I think we can do both. I'm especially excited about that line with added sugars.
I am too.
Yeah, so on the old label, we could see the amount of sugars, but those would be naturally occurring and added. So if we look at this new one, I really like that we're going to force the manufacturers to think twice about how much sugar are they adding to these products.
Yeah.
You know, we need to try and keep that number a little bit lower, the added sugars in our daily diets, and so I think this will really help us make informed decisions.
And that number before might have been a little bit deceiving because it didn't include those added sugars, so it could have had a low number and you wouldn't have known that those added sugars were there.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when will we see these labels rolled out into the grocery stores?
Well, for most manufacturers, that's going to be by July of 2016.
Okay.
Some manufacturers get an extra year if they have a smaller annual sales. So definitely all should be rolled out by July of 2019.
Okay.
And we may see some even sooner.
And we're hoping this helps people really connect with the labels. We were talking a little bit earlier about kids are now turning labels over because there's certain allergies and things. But is it really going to help when people, you know, Americans, we still have those studies that show obesity and overweight. Is this going to help?
You know, great question, and I guess time will tell, right? But what I really love about this change, well, for one, that there were any changes at all. I think, you know, for the FDA to put out a brand new label with a lot of old information but some new information, I think it's just going to keep the conversation going. You know, the foods that we choose every single day, they make up our diet, and we know that our diet impacts our overall health. And I think the more we can bring that conversation into our houses, into our workplaces, into our schools, I think that can only be a positive thing.
Sure,
so.
Sure. We were talking that this is a tool that it either gets used or it doesn't get used,
right.
just like real tools. But it's a
Exactly.
tool. We appreciate the facelift. So, Mara, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Well, you know, 9Health Fair will start again this fall, and however, between now and then, visit 9healthfair.org for a dose of healthy information, including a topic of the month and how you can be 9Health ready. For all the questions about the 9Health Fair, give them a call at 800-332-3078.